I am very excited to be able to speak at this conference because Sharon is a very dear friend of mine. And I got a chance to be a part of what ended up being the birthing of this conference. First, I want to thank my husband, Mr. Jim Hines, for being here to support me. He's still a newlywed. So I thank him for being here and supporting me and supporting Sharon and her vision. But I want to say before I start, you know, sometimes when you need to recharge, you have to get away. And it reminds me of a joke that I heard about this woman that was an ugly woman. She decided she wanted to go on a vacation, so she went for a walk by the beach, and she found a jar. She picked up the jar, and out pops this genie. And the genie says, "Your wish is my command, but you only have one wish, so think very carefully before you make it." I want to step back. And she says, "I love to travel. I like to go to New York. I like to go to Hawaii. I would like a bridge that would go from New York to Hawaii. That's my one wish." And the genie paused and was like, "New York to Hawaii? That's very difficult, and you got all these, you know, the lanes." And the genie said, "I tell you what, give me another wish." And the other lady said, "Well, you know what? I've always wanted to look like Tyra Banks." And the genie said, "Now, how many lanes did you say you wanted on the highway?" Not everybody can understand your dream. But I'm going to be brief. When you say it's to go back, to do again. I'm going to talk about 3 S's when it comes to a re. Talk about Samson. I'm going to talk about myself, Sylvia. And I'm talking about Sharon. Now, we know about Samson from the Bible. And when I thought about who had to be recharged, a man who was given a birthright of having all of this power, a man who had a situation of dancing with the devil as he danced with Delilah and had his gift taken away. But in the end, when he's captured by his enemy, the one thing that he asks God is to restore him, to recharge him. And when God recharged him, he killed more men in that incident, in his death, than he had done in all of his other battles. That let me know there's a promise when you're recharged. Doesn't mean that your life won't change. Doesn't mean that things won't be taken away. But when God gives them back, when he puts a re in front of it, he puts some power behind it. When he puts a re in front of it, he puts a force behind it. And I thought about my own life. I've been taking pictures since I was 9 years old. Got out of college and got a chance to work with the Democratic caucus. I was writing because they found out I could do photography. I became a photographer. Then all of a sudden, something weird happened. Half the pictures I took were in focus and half were not. I started taking classes. I started doing everything I could to try to correct the problem, but I couldn't. Half the time my pictures were okay, half the time they weren't. When you're taking pictures of people coming in like Jesse Jackson, and when you're taking pictures of the Speaker of the House, you can't have half your pictures not be good. So I ended up losing my job, and I was really devastated. My first job out of college, and I went to a photography company, and I placed my camera on the counter, and the guy looked at me and he said, "How long have you been shooting with a broken lens?" I was like, "What?" He said, "Your lens is broken." And he couldn't understand why even 50% of the time it was on, but half the time it was on and half it wasn't. So at that point, I put my camera away. I started doing some other things, ended up coming to Dallas, having a son. And when I had my son, I began to take pictures of my son. And everybody was like, "Oh," now these are people who did not know me, did not know my history. And they were like, "Oh, these pictures are so good. Have you ever thought about being a photographer?" I'm like, "Yeah, right, okay." So, but after that, I began to do more ended up doing the calendar for Emmett Smith, ending up having my photographs in the African American Museum, ending up having a photography exhibit of breast cancer survivors that's been in New York and other states across the country. I said that to say this. Some of the work I did before in college was good. But the things that God has allowed me to do afterwards have been much greater. When God gives you a read, He puts a force behind it. He gives you power. When you have to do it again, you do it better. It comes with lessons. It comes with thought. It comes with a process. And then I think about Sharon. This moment is so emotional because I remember where it came from. I remember seeing her in the hospital. I remember the point where she was wondering, or maybe she wasn't, but I knew the doctors were wondering what would happen. Not an easy thing to deal with. And all the changes that she went through as she began to work her way back to health. And I remember this phone call she gave me. And she was doing a press conference. And she asked me, should I send somebody to represent me? Should I not go? What should I do? Because if I show up, I'm going to have to show up with an oxygen tank. My first response was, send somebody, don't go, do not show up with an oxygen tank. And then we began to talk. And she said, but this is who I am going to be from this point on. And I said, you know what? If this is your new normal, you get a suit, you put on your makeup, and you walk in with the oxygen tank. Because this is now who you are. I believe Sharon has done some amazing things. She was the editor of my book. She has been my friend. She's been a writer. She has edited so many different projects. I believe she's a phenomenal person. But what she did then is nothing compared to what she does now. Because she's been recharged, regenerated, renewed. And God is going to do His best yet. Amen. I want to ask, life has a way of changing things around. Sometimes we build up things and they're torn down. Sometimes we have a vision and it's changed. But is there somebody that really feels they need to be recharged? If you feel like you need to be recharged, just stand up. Yeah. Just stand up. If you feel like you need to be recharged. Because the thing I was thinking about when I was thinking about speaking is, in the 60s there was a civil rights movement. And Aretha Franklin made a song that began to become the anthem of the civil rights movement. She said, R-E-S-P-E-C-T, find out what it means to me. It means I got dignity. It means I got pride. It means that I got respect. I thought about recharge, R-E-C-H-R-G-E. Find out what it means to me. You got to talk to somebody who's been through something. It means I've been renewed. It means I've been restored. It means I've been rebuilt. I've got more power now than I had before because R-E-C-H-R-G-E, I have been recharged. Find out what it means to me. Find out maybe I've gone through some pains, but I am better now. Maybe I got an oxygen tank, but I am better now. Maybe I'm walking with a limp, but I am better now. When God gives you a He always puts power behind it.
All right.
Recharge. R-E-C-H-R-G-E. Find out what it means to me. I am recharged. In the name of Jesus. Amen.
I know how to get rid of the haters.